Hi everyone, my name is Rainer Angemann. I'm CEO and co-founder of Rarebyte, and I will be talking about building a community with development and playtesting streams. So how we do that at our company. To start with, I'd like to give you a short introduction of who I am. Who is this guy standing in front of you talking to you? So as I said, my name is Rainer Angemann. I'm in game dev, or I've been dabbling in game dev since 1999, coming from like this typical gamer to game dev background, grew up with all those games from id Software, Doom and Quake, and eventually started developing games on my own. I have a technical background. I studied telematics and network engineering, and eventually I co-founded this studio called Rarebyte. And Rarebyte is what we call an indie studio, whatever indie means nowadays. We founded the company in 2006, and the core team is about 10 people working from offices in Vienna and in Graz from Austria. We have developed 25 titles over the years, and we developed games for all the major platforms. So over the years, we've developed games for mobile platforms, for PC consoles, and we have also dealt with like all the different kind of genres coming from like casual, free-to-play, hardcore, PC, everything just in there. And for us, it works in a way that we use contract work to finance our own projects. So we do a lot of contract work, but then put the money into our own IPs. And yeah, lately we've been working on like this game. This is the game we're probably best known for at the moment. It's Game Dev Tycoon for mobile. We developed that in collaboration with Greenheart Games. But let's put that aside. Let's take a step back to where we come from, like coming from the 90s, like the dark ages of the 90s, where development or game development was always like something, oh, we should keep this a secret, and we should not tell anyone what we're working on because we're not done yet, and someone is gonna steal our ideas. So yeah, don't tell until it's done. But like coming from this background and like doing games for all those years, there was a point in time when we said to ourselves, is this really what we want to do now? Is this really the way to go for an indie studio nowadays? And we said no. We wanted to be more open to everything. We wanted to have more like a transparent development process. And we started looking at what other people did at the time. And of course, there was this example from Vlambeer doing Nuclear Throne on stream, which inspired us, and they did something they call performative development. That means they don't just develop games on stream, but it's more a performance for an audience. They also saw development as content. That means you're not just having a game there to consume for your players, but you also have streams that those streams are also consumed by viewers, and that's development as content. But there was other streamers out there, for example, Game Dev Company. What they did was a bit different because they wanted to build up just the developer community around their streams, and they had something called the Steam Trending Research, where they looked at games coming out on Steam and then compared data. They used a lot of Steam Spy back then when it was still useful. And they then talked about why this game succeeded or the other one failed, and just discussed this with their audience. They also had something called Game Dev Talks, where they sat down on the couch with other developers to discuss certain topics in game dev. And then they had Game Critique, where you could just send in your prototype or your first playable or even a finished game, and they will play it on stream and give you live feedback, and also like discuss this with their audience, which was very good for new developers or just developers wanting to share something with the community. Then, of course, there was Jonathan Blow. Everyone knows him because he's very famous for doing like Braid and The Witness, and he does a lot of like really hardcore programming on stream. And he gets a lot of viewers because he's very well known. He even develops his own language on stream called J. But those three examples, just really three examples. There are a lot of more streamers out there doing development on Twitch, for example. So the question was, why should you actually do this? And the first and most important thing is to build up a community around your game. This is basically the idea is to build this community while you still develop the game. So when you release your game, the community is already there and will support you and your launch. But you also do something called brand promotion. So what does that mean? Of course, you want to promote the game. But in the long run, it's not only this game. In the long run, you want to promote the company. And the company, of course, is the people. So the people that are behind that company and their personalities. So we asked ourselves, can we do this with our games? Is this possible? And to answer that question, we have to look at the 2 games that are currently in development at our studio. First, we have Seeds of Soul. Seeds of Soul is an isometric action adventure with roguelike elements. And you're basically stranded somewhere on a strange planet, and your best hope for survival there is an AI companion that has multiple personalities. So what could go wrong? It features procedural generation. Every time you play the game, it's different, and we have random events there as well. So that's Seeds of Soul, the first game, and the second game we're working on and more focusing on at the moment is called We Are Screwed, and We Are Screwed is a space co-op action game. So you team up with your friends. It's a local co-op game. You manage and operate a spaceship, and it's the worst spaceship in the known galaxy. And you try not to blow it up, and in the end, of course, save the universe. And this game also features procedural generation and random events. So those were the 2 games, or still are the 2 games we're working on at the moment. And why should we do this with those games? Or why is this possible to do this with those games? Yeah, first of all, it's those games, they are very system-driven. So if you develop those games on stream, it's not like you spoil everything. If those games were really story-driven, it would not be possible to do development on stream. But let's take it a step further and talk about who's actually watching those streams. And we identified these groups. First, you have potential players. So those are the people who will probably end up buying your game if you're lucky. But you could also recruit testers from your streams and test early builds of your game. And then, of course, there are other developers interested in how you develop games on stream or certain technologies, techniques, what you use, tips and tricks. Let's take a look at when those people will arrive at your stream. First, in early development, you have mainly developers in your stream because this is just really early in the development. You have a lot of programming stuff, like a little bit boring. So mainly developers and not so many players. Some players will be there, maybe those are interested in how a game is developed, but it's mainly developers. Next, in mid-development, of course there are still developers there, but then you can start recruiting alpha testers and having more people play the game and like build up a community that then gets new builds of the game, and you have more and more potential players. And then if you're nearing beta or release of the game, or even after launch, you have mainly players, and you have less developers. So this is like the 3 phases we identified. We decided to stream those kind of different types of streams. So we have development streams, we have something called an office stream, and we have playtesting streams. Let's talk about this a bit more in detail. So a development stream could be a game design stream. So a game designer sits down and does his work or her work. And they will just show the nuts and bolts of game design to whoever's watching and like balance something in the game, wire up new systems, playtest the game over and over again, and also give away like tricks and hints and talk a lot about the game. Then we have programming streams. That's what I do most. So really coding stuff and creating all those different kind of systems that we need in the game. And then, of course, there's art streams. And art streams, a developer or an artist sits down and probably produces a new model for the game, 3D model, or animates something, or integrates that into the game. So those are development streams. But we also have office streams. And office streams, if you don't tell anyone, this is the cheapest form of stream you can do, because this is just like showing developer live with a camera, like Big Brother. We would just have a camera in the office and keep it running for a couple hours. You could see a lot of studio culture in there, but there is mainly chat-only interaction, so there's not that many, or people are not really talking in the stream. Maybe there's background music and a little bit of chat interaction, but that's it, basically. We even used that for a 2-day game jam. We did like an internal game jam at our studio where we streamed the whole 2 days, and there were a lot of viewers just watching us like developing. It was really interesting. Then we have playtesting streams, and playtesting streams is, hence the name, you play a current build of the game, and what we do there is we invite guests, typically guests from the community already. So the setup works in a way that a developer would sit down with someone from the community, and this guest would then play the game. And the guest's task is just to speak out loud what he or she thinks of the game and what's interesting in the game, or if there's something that's not right when playing the game. Just speak out loud what the problems are and talk about the issues. And the developer next to that guest would just listen carefully and then ask, why do you think this is happening, or what do you think of this or that? And like this is the number one question I would ask there. I would ask a guest like, what is the most annoying thing right now for you in the game? And then we'll talk about this on stream and also with the people in the chat. And this is a nice way to like really collect and discuss feedback with your community. So next, as we've been doing this for quite some time now, let's talk about what went wrong so far. First of all, schedule. So schedule is something we were really struggling with that for like forever, because people want to plan accordingly. They want to know when you're gonna start your stream. But for us, it was really it wasn't that easy, because we had multiple projects we were working on, and it was not easy to like really nail down that schedule and then tell people, hey, it's gonna be every Thursday at 3 p.m., for example. Then next, a clear vision. So game design and also game development, you have a lot of iterations there. And a lot of people not into game development, they would just come to the stream and say, and they would listen to you saying, okay, this is gonna be the game. But maybe in the end, we will change everything and it's gonna be a completely different game. And this is perceived sometimes as a lack of vision there. And you have to explain people, no, this is like a natural process. You have to try stuff and you have to like iterate on things and then change something. And if you're lucky in the end, then you have a game. Also, as we stream a lot of our stuff on Twitch, we have multiple streamers or developers streaming as Rharebyte with our company handle. And people are on Twitch, they are more affiliated with like a streamer, and it should be the same person. So they come back to stream, hey, and say, hey, I was here last week. Who is that person? Who is streaming there? And we have explained, yeah, no, we do multiple types of streams. So this time it's an art stream, next time maybe it's a programming stream. Also, people would say, I was here last week. I saw you working on that feature. Is there no progress there? Are you still working on that very small feature? And again, yeah, one reason for that is game dev can be complicated. Sometimes you have to rework stuff and rewrite frameworks, for example, and then there is nothing new to show visually. And also we had those other projects. So sometimes we had to focus on those other contract work projects and then come back to our own thing. But yeah, that's what people were asking there. But it's not that everything was bad about our streams. Of course, there was a lot of things that went right so far. We managed to create a hardcore follower base. So this is like the core audience or the core follower base that really is joining all of your streams and following you on all the other platforms, for example, and really help push the word out and spread the news about your game. Again, multiple developers streaming as Rarebyte is also on the plus side because we had different kind of streams, and that was great because you can reach out to different people in your audience. Sometimes people are more interested in art streams or more in programming streams, playtesting streams, whatever, so that's a plus. And of course, we could collect a lot of feedback. And you really get a lot of feedback from people. The crucial thing here is to really filter out that feedback. Because people would just throw things at you and say, hey, this is going to be awesome, why don't you put this in the game? And then maybe on stream you think, oh, okay, yeah, this sounds great. And then later on, you find out it's not going to work in the end. So you have to be, you have to be aware of that and filter out feedback. But all in all, it's really great to get a lot of feedback there. So next, let's talk about how to engage viewers, how to retain viewers, and how to keep viewers watching your game. Remember, on Twitch, it's not always about your game or the game you're developing. It's more about you, the streamer. And you need to know that, and you need to react accordingly and really get this kind of bond working between viewers and you, the streamer. You also have to manage expectations. So this is crucial. Like when you say something on stream, people will expect this to happen sometime. Yeah. So if you say, hey, this is going to be awesome, we are going to add multiplayer to our game because it just felt natural to say that in the stream. The week after, people ask, hey, where's multiplayer? And it's, oh, this is actually quite complicated. So you have to be careful about managing expectations. All in all, really, for programming streams, especially, it's really hard. It can be really hard to stream, like develop, read chat, and talk at the same time, constantly for a couple hours. What I try to do when I have to like really focus on code, I at least try to keep up with the chat and do little things like this example here. When someone subscribes or follows, I just put a comment in there in my code to really appreciate that someone followed us. And it's going to stay there, and they will leave their mark. And this is just very simple, but people like that. Also keep in mind, you can engage with other streamers. So be sure to rate other streams at the end of your stream. So bring your viewers to another stream, another developer stream. And of course, if you do that, karma, it will come back to you, because then you get rated by other streamers in your next stream, and you have more viewers. So that's great. We have developed more to engage viewers. We have integrated a reward system in our stream. So we want to reward loyal viewers. We have added an in-stream currency called bytes. Makes sense, because Rarebyte and bytes. You collect those bytes by just watching the stream. So every 10 minutes, you get 10 bytes. And then we have a leaderboard where you compare your bytes to someone else's. And who's first? Yeah, I'm the community leader. And then you can play mini games in the chat by just using those bytes. So if I do a really boring programming stream, this is the moment where people start playing mini games in the chat. Next, we added the stream store. So you can also use those bytes if you have collected enough and can redeem items from our stream store. We have added physical rewards. We have postcards of concepts of our games. And you can redeem that, and we will just physically send that postcard to you. And you can collect them. And that's awesome because people like collecting stuff. we've gone one step further even with those postcards, because we have developed something called Find Secrets, and that works as a pre-stream engagement. So when we start a stream, it's not like we hit start streaming and then immediately start talking. It's more like the first 10 to 15 minutes is just a view of our office, and while we gather viewers to really start the stream, you can then control this office camera from with commands from the chat. And you can find postcards hidden in our office. And if you do that, then you take a screenshot and maybe tweet it, and we'll send that postcard to you. So that's a way how you can increase coverage or reach on other platforms. All right. The stream, if you do this for a while, it can really be alive on its own. I'll just leave this here because in our streams, people just started to Photoshop us while streaming, and they came up with really like crazy stuff. Yeah, special thanks to Code 1 from the community for that. So yeah, fun stuff can happen in your stream. Let's take a look at the tools. So if you want to start streaming the development of your game, what are the tools you're going to use? So for us, we started with OBS streaming software as like the basis for all of our streaming. This is probably, yeah, let's call it standard. A lot of people use that. We use HD webcams, Focusrite audio gear, and professional microphones to keep up the quality. And then we use a platform called Stream Elements for our reward system and our overlays. There's plenty of other software out there that you can use. It's just, we ended up using Stream Elements for that. So then we said, okay, if there's gonna be interesting stuff discussed in the chat, we don't wanna lose that. So we created a custom-made bot to pipe stream chat from Twitch to Slack. So it's searchable now. Also, we have this custom-made office cam controller I talked about before. If you're interested in using those tools, get in touch afterwards. We are happy to share anything. All right, so let's talk about how you can enhance these tools using, for example, Stream Elements. You can add timers to your stream, post useful links to discover more of your game every 30 minutes, for example. Post stuff for other social media channels so people will follow you there. Also, something that is very useful, have commands for frequently asked questions, like, hey, I'm new to game dev, how do I start? Well, there's this learn command that gives you, like, here are some tutorials. If you want to learn, I don't know, Unity, start there. Also, have a command for your trailer or footage of your game. That helps a lot while you have a broken game and can't show anything, for example. And of course, add fun stuff to your stream. We have a coffee counter there, we have office cam commands, stuff like that, that really like engages people. And then there is this moment when you stop your stream. And of course, when you're not streaming, you don't want to lose your audience. You still want to engage your audience. And what we did, and we heard this like in the last talk as well, we created a Discord and we said, hey, if you want to follow this game, why not join our Discord? There's more there. There's all of our games there, and also a channel where you can show your stuff and get like professional feedback. So we also created this Discord community, and of course all the other social media platforms as well, and they kind of interconnect. So you would tell people on Discord that the stream starts. You will tell people on Twitter that I don't know, that you have a Discord, and it's interconnected. So to conclude with, if you want to start streaming the development or playtesting of your games, what are the most important things that you need to take care of? So first of all, explain what you are doing at all times. People will just join your stream, they have no idea what you're talking about or what you're doing, and then be sure to answer all those questions and explain in detail what you're doing. Also, talk a lot, talk all the time, entertain people. And use proper equipment, get a good microphone, get a good camera, even get a green screen if you can. Also, make jokes. Yes, my puns do count as jokes. And have regular streams, have a schedule. Really tell people when you're gonna stream so people can plan accordingly and come back to your stream. Also do recaps. If you have had a nice stream, go back, check out your recording, make a clip from like highlights, like funny moments or great moments when you got something working, and then post it on your other social media channels. Also, invite the community to those other channels, for example, Discord. And last but not least, of course, as always in like building communities, be sure to be excellent to each other. So if you have any questions, I think there's a bit more time now. Thank you.